I showed up at my sister Emily's graduation only to be halted by security. Before I could process it, Emily yelled, "You're not supposed to be here," while our parents chuckled behind her. I bit back my hurt and left without a word. The next morning, I sent her a message. "As of next month, you're covering your own rent." Hours later, she was at my door sobbing. I'd found out about Emily's graduation party the way I always learned about family gatherings, by chance. No invitation, not even a passing, "You coming?" from our parents. Instead, my phone lit up with family group chat photos. Lavish decor, silver and burgundy balloons, a bespoke cake with "Congrats, Emily," in elegant script. Aunt Susan posted on Instagram, "My genius niece is destined for greatness." Emily graduated from Central Connecticut State University, not Yale, but our parents treated it like she'd solved world hunger. Meanwhile, I'd been quietly bankrolling her life, $700 a month for rent, plus $2,500 per semester for tuition. Our parents called it family duty, but they weren't the ones dipping into savings or eating ramen to make ends meet. That was me every month, without fail. No thanks, no recognition, just silence. It wasn't about the cash. I'd hoped my sacrifices would earn me a place in their eyes, some proof I was valued. For 10 years, I was an only child. Then Emily came along and the spotlight shifted. She was the star, I was the backdrop, useful when convenient, invisible otherwise. When the party photos hit the chat, I waited before texting Mom, "Where's the celebration?" Her reply was curt. "Bridgeport, the place from Lisa's baby shower. I assumed you knew." No apology, just an address, thrown out like an afterthought. I didn't ask who was invited. I already knew everyone. Uncle Tom mentioned folding chairs for the cousins. Dad cracked a joke about Grandpa needing noise-canceling headphones. They'd planned a grand event and left me out without a second thought. I live alone in New Haven, scraping by in a cramped apartment. Still, I dressed carefully that day, button-up shirt, neat khakis, and drove to Bridgeport, holding on to the faint hope they'd just forgotten me. I recognized the house from the cars. Uncle's Suburban, Sarah's rusty Civic, Dad's pickup. Oddly, Grandma and Grandpa's sedan was absent. They never skipped family events. At the entrance, 2 guards stopped me. "Private event," one said. I explained it was my sister's graduation. They exchanged looks before one went inside. Minutes later, Emily emerged with our parents. She looked like a starlet, glittering gown, flawless makeup, scrolling her phone like she was above it all. She barely glanced at me before telling the guards, "He's not supposed to be here." I almost laughed, thinking it was a prank. Then I saw Dad's grin. "You actually showed up," he said. "After all your attitude lately?" I hadn't said a thing. Mom chimed in, "James, this is a joyful day. We didn't want any tension." I pay her rent, I cover her tuition, and I'm the tension, Emily scoffed. "You didn't do this for me. You did it to hold it over me. It's always about you." "You're welcome," I said dryly. She turned and walked off like I was an annoyance. Dad shrugged. "Maybe confirm you're invited next time." I didn't argue. I just said, "Got it," and left. At home, I stared at my ceiling, then sent Emily the text. "Starting next month, you're on your own for rent. Best of luck." By morning, she was at my door, tears streaming. "You can't do this." "I can't afford it. Why now?" I let her stand there before replying. "Because I'm apparently just a nobody, and nobodies don't owe you anything." She pushed past me, collapsed onto my couch, and started with excuses, exams, her side gig, how drained she was. "You could have said you were hurt," she whined. "I did, yesterday, clearly." She brushed it off. "That wasn't serious." "Neither was your financial planning," I snapped. Her eyes darted around my apartment, the old radiator, the worn armchair, like she was seeing my life for the first time. "Why stop now?" she demanded. "Because I finally believe you," I said. "Yesterday wasn't a mistake, it's who you are." I asked why Grandma and Grandpa weren't at the party. She faltered. "Mom said they'd gripe about the noise." "Grandpa talks too much." I gave a bitter laugh. "Funny how people become inconvenient once they've served their purpose." At 10:15 a.m., Grandma left a voicemail. "We heard what happened. We weren't invited either. We're so proud of you, James. We're coming over with coffee." Emily's face crumpled. "You told them not to come?" "It wasn't just me," she mumbled. "Mom said Grandpa would steal my moment." "So you're okay with people being erased as long as it's not you?" She stormed out as Grandma and Grandpa arrived. They brought coffee, bagels, and unwavering support. "You don't owe them a thing," Grandma said. Grandpa added, "She called you a nobody. You're the only one in this family who gives without expecting a parade." After they left, I called Dad. "I'm done covering Emily's expenses," he sighed. "You're smart with money." "Why quit now?" "Because I'm not her ATM," I said, hanging up. Later, cousin Laura stopped by, uneasy but apologetic. I laughed when Emily called you a nobody. I'm sorry. She said she was escaping the family chaos for law school. Then she showed me a screenshot, Emily bragging to her friends about how I paid her bills while trashing me. He's desperate to belong, she'd written. Hope he got the message. He's a nobody. I dropped the screenshot in the family chat without a word. The group went quiet. Aunt Susan left the chat. I drove to my parents' house. Mom answered, eyes puffy. Dad sat rigid. I laid it all out, years of being ignored, used, then humiliated. I'm done, I said. I shared the truth online. Let everyone see who you really are. They had no response. That night, an old friend, Marcus, called after seeing my Reddit post. We grabbed dinner, reminiscing about simpler times. No family baggage, just genuine connection. Days later, cousin Ethan found me at the grocery store. He handed me an envelope with $75.50. Inside, a note, "For every time I acted like you didn't matter, lunch is on me." It wasn't about the money. It was recognition. Someone saw me. Grandma was right. I didn't want it to end. I wanted it to improve. But some stories don't resolve. They evolve. A week after my Reddit post blew up, the consequences were undeniable. My phone wouldn't stop pinging. Supportive messages, angry ones, opinions from relatives I hadn't spoken to in years. Then came an email from Emily's university's financial aid office. Subject, urgent, tuition payment. Dear Mr. Carter, we note an outstanding balance of $3,000 for Emily Carter's fall semester. As the primary payer, please confirm if this will be settled or if alternative arrangements are needed. I deleted it without responding. That afternoon, Mom called for the first time since the showdown. I let it go to voicemail. Her voice was tense. James, we need to talk. Emily says you're refusing her tuition. After all her hard work, this isn't a game. I texted back. Neither was being called a nobody at her graduation. At work, my coworker Sam lingered by my desk. That Reddit post, was that you? I tensed. Why? My girlfriend read it. Thought it sounded like you. He slid a job listing across my desk. My cousin's company is hiring. Starting pays 40% higher than here. Figured you'd want to know. For once, my family mess had opened a door instead of slamming one shut. Emily showed up at my workplace looking frayed, nails chewed, hair in a sloppy ponytail. They're threatening to drop me from my classes, she hissed in the parking lot. Do you know what that does to my record? I kept walking. Guess you'll need another job. Dad says he'll pay if you apologize. I stopped, turned. Apologize for what? Existing? Her face contorted. For humiliating us online. I laughed, a real, freeing laugh. Truth only humiliates if it's shameful. At Sunday dinner, now just with Grandma and Grandpa, Grandpa dropped a bombshell. We're updating our will. He slid a document across the table. Your parents get the cabin. You get the investment account and our Miami condo. I nearly choked on my lemonade. That's most of your estate. Grandma squeezed my hand. We know who our real family is. Mom texted. Your father had heart palpitations after your last email. The doctor says it's stress. Are you proud? I replied. Ask Emily if she's proud of her unpaid tuition. No response. 6 months later, Emily took a semester off to work at a coffee shop. Last I heard, she'd moved in with a boyfriend our parents disapprove of. Dad's heart palpitations vanished when the hospital bill arrived. I took Sam's job lead and doubled my salary. Every Sunday, I brunch with Grandma and Grandpa. We laugh louder than we ever did at family gatherings. Sometimes letting go isn't an ending, it's a beginning. 1 year later, the anniversary of the post passed quietly. I spent it renovating my new home, Grandma and Grandpa's Miami condo, now mine. The ocean breeze felt like liberation. Aunt Susan accidentally CC'd me on an email chain. From Emily Carter at ccsu.edu. To parents. Subject, Ray, student loans. I don't care if the interest is 9%. You said I'd graduate debt-free. This is all James's fault. The rest was cut off, but the tone was unmistakable. Grandpa, still getting updates from his lodge buddies, said Emily dropped out after failing 2 classes. She's now a receptionist at a low-end hotel. The irony wasn't lost on me. Mom sent a Christmas card addressed only to me. Inside, a bland winter scene and a note. We sold the Suburban to pay Emily's spring tuition. Your father's blood pressure spiked. Hope you're happy. I framed it next to my new job. Contract, Ethan started sending me memes every Thursday. Then came the admission. Mom broke down when she saw your post, said she always knew but didn't want to stir things up. Now she's seeing a counselor. Last month, he visited Miami. We sipped beers on my deck as he confessed. You gave us all permission to stop faking it. Grandpa, over whiskey one night, showed me an old photo. Dad at 25, head in hands after Grandpa refused to cover a bad bet. Your father forgot what it's like to earn something, he said. You never had that choice. Marcus, my high school friend, introduced me to his cousin's book group. There I met Sophia, a social worker who'd read my post and cut ties with her own toxic family. Our first date lasted 8 hours. Now she leaves notes on my fridge. Your value isn't tied to what you give. Proud of you. Buy milk. Normal things, restorative things. Emily called at 2:43 a.m. last Monday, slurring her words. You win, okay? I'm the bad guy in your little story. At least I didn't have to buy people's love. The call dropped. I didn't save it. This morning, my bank app pinged a $700 deposit from an unknown account. Memo, for the armchair. I know who sent it. I also know she'll never own up to it. Some scars don't fade neatly. But as Sophia says, they're proof you made it through. One evening, on my Miami condo's balcony with Marcus and his partner, watching the sunset blaze in hues of coral and violet, my phone buzzed. An unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something urged me to pick up. A shaky voice said, James, it's Emily. No venom, no blame, just weariness. I'm calling because I owe you a real apology. Marcus's partner gave my arm a gentle pat and slipped inside, leaving me space. I took a breath. I'm listening. Emily's voice broke. This past year, I blamed you for everything, but really I was mad at myself, mad I couldn't do it on my own, mad I needed you, then treated you like the enemy. Silence hung between us. For once, I didn't rush to break it. I'm not asking for money, she went on, or even forgiveness. I just needed you to know I get it now, all of it. I shut my eyes. The weight of years of resentment felt lighter, like her words had loosened its hold. Thanks for saying that, I said, but this isn't just about me. What's next? A trembling breath. I'm going back to school, taking out loans like everyone else and starting therapy. Turns out our family's mess didn't just hurt you. A faint smile crossed my face. Good. We didn't fully mend things that day. Some wounds take time. But for the first time, I felt a spark of hope, not for the family we were, but for the people we could be. As I hung up, Marcus stepped out with 2 beers. You good? I nodded. Yeah, I think so. The sun sank below the horizon, cloaking the sky in night. But for the first time in years, the future felt bright. The end. If you were moved by this story and felt its emotional weight, please give it a like, share it with others, and follow for more real-life tales and heartfelt narratives. Your support means everything and helps us share more stories like this. Thank you for reading, and I'll see you in the next one.